Welcome back to the SA Weekly Talk Show. Your host here, Mike Callahan, with special guest Jostes from Rambling Jackson. So really excited to have you in here, Jack. And I know that we had a really good talk about 3 weeks ago on your podcast where we were talking all things automations, conversational marketing. And I learned a lot from you during that talk. So I really wanted to get you on here in the SA Weekly Talk Show to talk about things regarding SEO, websites, lead reviews, or customer reviews, and a whole bunch of other things that you are definitely an expert at. So I really appreciate you spending some time with us here on the SEO Weekly Talk Show. But before we kind of dive into the meat and potatoes of this, would you mind giving us a little background on how you actually cut your teeth in the lawn care and landscape industry and your route into doing these specialized service for the industry is probably really non-traditional because your background, from what I understand, really isn't necessarily starting out from lawn care, but from all I can see is you guys are absolutely crushing it in the lawn care industry. So you wouldn't mind kind of introducing yourself and giving us a little background before we get into some knowledge bombs.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. It was a real pleasure having you on my podcast. And my favorite thing that I learned was that you're automating sending print sales letters. So that was one of the things that I really took away from that interview. My background in the green industry, in high school and college, I worked at a plant nursery and garden center in Des Plaines, Illinois, called Pesci's Plant Nursery. So I was just doing, entry level work there, but I worked there maybe 5 or 6 summers, and really grew to appreciate the green industry. And then I wasn't planning to work in the green industry. I studied theater and journalism, and I played in a band. And that's how I learned digital marketing. At that time, Facebook, MySpace, Napster, all of this stuff was changing the internet. And I was really focused on getting my music out there. And I started my digital agency mainly focused on local search engine optimization. And that's something we're going to talk about today. And I got hired to speak at the Pro Green Expo, which is Colorado's state, green industry show. And I got a ton of business from garden centers, landscapers. And I was like, man, I really enjoy working with the green industry. And they're getting a lot of results from what I do. And that was kind of the perfect mix. I knew that I needed to focus somewhere with my company. And we're coming up on 12 years now. So we work with landscapers, lawn care, tree care, garden centers, nurseries all throughout the United States, helping them get found online through their websites. We're going to talk about reviews today. And it's just good people. I enjoy working with the green industry.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate opening that up. You might have just aged both of us or dated us a little bit with the old Napster and MySpace, but it's all right. It's all right.
Right. For sure.
So if any millennials watching, those are the early days of social media and somewhat free downloadable music in a gray area, I guess. So.
Well, yeah, and it was really, it was really a weird time on the internet. It was an incredible time. I was joking with somebody about Bitcoin recently and how I feel like Bitcoin is kind of like when the internet came out and they didn't really know what it was, and you knew somebody who was doing it. And I remember I figured out the internet for my family. We got AOL on CDs in the mail. It was like free 50 hours of internet, and you'd plug your phone into the computer, and then now here we are live streaming. And it's amazing how fast it has grown and changed, and really changed the way that people find businesses forever. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and talking about the fast change and things going on, the fast change right now, at least in the lawn care industry, and even the home cleaning industry right now, is the fast change of the seasons. And we're diving into the spring season. And I know as a business owner, I'm looking out and going, how do I go out and use my website to get qualified leads? Because right now, everybody and their brother is searching the internet. They're searching Facebook. They're going out there for word of mouth. But specifically around your expertise, how do we get actual qualified leads through that website? Is there a process we should be looking at, in your opinion?
Yeah. So if you talk with any contractor, really in any trade right now, they will tell you that they are slammed. They're getting a lot of leads, a lot of phone calls. People are finding them because part of it is due to the shutdowns of things and COVID. Last year people stopped traveling and they started spending more time at home, and they started saying, I remember I had 3 weddings I was going to go to and we're not going. So we put some money into our house, right? And so a lot of people are doing that, whether it's landscaping or even remodeling and things. And so the searches on the internet have skyrocketed. They were already going up every year. So if you're using the right keywords, that would be one of the things, is to make sure that you're using the right keywords. For instance, if you want landscape design and outdoor kitchen type projects, more of the hardscape type work, you want to use those keywords and focus your website with photos of the projects that you actually want. Whereas if you have just, a photo of a project that you don't really want, then you're going to get leads for projects you don't want. A quick example of this, I have a client in New Jersey. I talk about him all the time. We were selecting the photos for his website, and he's like, "Oh, Jack, I'm sick of these projects that have a pool and they have a water feature and they have a building structure with a roof." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Oh, I have to hire all these subs and it's a big nightmare." Well, guess what every photo on his homepage was? It was a backyard with a pool, with a water feature, with, a roof structure. So that would be one tip, is to make sure the images, the photos that you're putting out there are what I call your hell yes customer, meaning that these are photos they're not the biggest job you've ever done. They're the photos of the projects that you actually want. So that would be one of them. And then the other thing would be to communicate a process on your website. And your process can disqualify people for you. One of the ways we're doing that with our clients right now is with video, producing video that people need to watch before they meet with you, where they learn about price ranges, timelines. Those are 2 things that can really help you get a high quality lead, is if somebody actually understands the price range of your services realistically, not info from homeadvisor.com that's way off, right? If you're the source of the pricing and you just tell them, "Hey, we're booked out at least a month and typically starting construction 2 months from now," that'll eliminate the people who call and say, "Hey, can you guys do a full patio for $2,000 next weekend before my family barbecue?" It's like, no, no, we can't. And I have a video that I made one time that people watch that tells people that, right? So those are some of the ways that you can increase the quality of the leads that you're getting.
Yeah, and I think, Jack, that's great advice, and that's something that we did at Callahan's Lawn Care, believe it or not, 5-6 years ago. Is we incorporated video in, obviously, on the website, but then we actually did it in the estimate process as well. So I think where you're going is you're going in, you're shortening that sales cycle, and you're only talking to the most qualified, hottest leads, because they kind of understand now, what am I getting into? But talking about mistakes, because I had a huge mistake before we had that revelation doing the video and having it a 24/7. What are the mistakes that people are commonly making right now around SEO or search engine optimization in their landscape company?
One of the, I'd say the number one mistake that I see, and I have personally audited thousands of websites. It's a service that we do, and just in these events, a lot of times people will do live website reviews. The number one mistake I see people making is they're not mentioning the geographic keywords for the service areas that they target. So, for instance, what town are you in, Mike?
I'll use the town I lived in before, because the other one's a tongue twister, but Rochester, New York. So
Rochester, New York. Okay. So you would want to mention, if you sold landscape design, landscape design in Rochester, New York. A lot of landscapers will just write landscape design. We're a landscaper, but Google and customers, they're not Googling for any old landscaper. They're looking for people who service their specific city. And sometimes I've even gotten as specific as neighborhoods. So that would be one tip. And in the way to do that, one other mistake is they don't have enough pages on their website. You want to build out what we call the tree of good fortune, where you have a limb for each service and a branch off of that limb for each city. So for instance, you might have a limb for landscape design. You might have another one for lawn maintenance. You might have another one for tree service, if that was if you had those 3 services, and then off of those, build out those city pages for each city, right? So you'd have one for Rochester, and then what would be the next maybe suburb or area that you'd sell to?
Yeah, so Greece, Irondequoit, like all the different suburbs and towns.
Greece, right? So you go on like that, and what happens is you can get that individual page of your website to rank really high on Google. Whereas if you just have a lot of landscapers have what I call the Russian olive shrub of despair. Okay, so this is a noxious weed here in Colorado that it looks kind of pretty, but it's actually sucking all the water from all the other plants. And that would be just a thin website like home, about, services, contact, and then maybe a gallery, right? A lot of people have a really small website, so then they have a small service area, and that's what then makes you have to pay for lead generation websites like Home Advisor or House or Google AdWords. You're going to have to pay for advertising. Whereas if you build out a much bigger, more robust website, you can rank organically and get leads in all those different neighborhoods.
And it's interesting you mentioned that. So we really, quite candidly, haven't really talked about the details of this. I mean, obviously, I was really impressed with the high-level stuff you had. So this is exactly, and I would tell you folks, as of 2021 here, end of March, this works because this is what we did in my lawn care company. So just like exactly Jack's talking about, we literally had each town with sub pages or basically branching off. I don't know the exact terminology, but each town had its own basically breakout of page per service. And my company was acquired a little over 2 years ago. I'm telling you, that website is still up. They've kind of gutted it and it redirects to their own page that they've basically combined the two companies. But that website now actually still 2.5 years later, almost still outranks most of the local competitors, and nothing has been done to it in 2.5 years. So I mean, it's incredible.
That's why I call it the tree of good fortune, because it literally bears fruit every season once you plant it. But it takes more time and money to build on the front end than, most people, they hire a local web designer who builds them the 5-page website, and then they wonder why SEO doesn't work. And it's like, well, you haven't really done the work. So it takes a little more time and effort on the front end. But yeah, if you take care of it, it can work for years. I have a client who I don't even work with anymore, and we built a page for him 7 years ago, and it's still ranking and generating leads. And then the other thing is you can email those pages to people. You could advertise them, but you've got to have the content. I'm curious, when the acquisition happened, did they redirect it to a new site with a new page for each service, or did they?
Nope, it was without getting into details. They redirected it to basically a 4 or 5 page website, and hopefully it's still converting for them. But I mean, I think the one thing that I'm not undervaluing is you still need to maintain that, because that website was hit a trifecta at that point. It was hitting like the local, the map, and the top, right, all 3 or 4 things. So you definitely need to maintain them, and a professional like Jack will do that for you. But just to speak to what you're talking about, it does work. But you hit on something earlier about the music career that kind of is interesting. Is I'm really big, and a lot of people in my inner circle are really big in organic and paid digital marketing in your sales process. So does digital marketing in any shape or form kind of play into the top 2 things you've already talked about here?
Do you mean with which part of digital marketing? Like,
well, so I would say a lot of times, like, people talk about digital marketing, it is kind of like a big, big slang, but a lot of people I've been reading at least prefer to have, you need to have a digital marketing play to really ramp these things up. So, I mean, kind of, can you demystify what they're talking about, your take on that?
Yeah. So I think, digital marketing, and that's the subheading of the subtitle of my book is Get Found Online, the Local Business Owner's Guide to Digital Marketing. I think digital marketing is overall like the umbrella of all digital marketing. It could even include text messaging, might be a form of digital marketing, if you will.
Okay.
So I think it can kind of mean different things to different people. And to me, the more technical aspect of digital marketing might be things like follow-up sequences or landing pages and thank you pages, meaning so when somebody fills out a form on your website, instead of just having a little thing that pops up that says, thanks, we'll get back to you soon, you could redirect them to a page that has a video on it that's like, hey, thanks so much for calling Mike's Lawn Care. We're, before we call you back, check out this video to learn about our pricing, our process, and here's some client interviews, right? So I think digital marketing to me has a little more planning through it of like the customer journey of like, okay, how are we generating leads? That's one thing. And then how do we nurture them and warm them up? And then even how do we do some things like customer service? Like you and I were talking about the ringless voicemail bombs that you record a voicemail. Love that idea, by the way, where it's like, hey, it's Mike's Lawn Care. We'll be doing our lawn mowing service this Thursday, right? And you can have that automated, so now customers know.
Yep. So yeah, I wasn't like it's big. It's a big term, but I was kind of curious. I know like digital marketing plays and everything you do, so that makes sense. And I really appreciate kind of clarifying what your take on digital marketing, what it is, and I love the idea of having different. So like if you're using Service Autopilot, for instance, you can have different forms, and then you can have different thank you pages, and there's different lead source tracking. So I'm assuming at some point, Jack, you want to know what's your return on investment on this website. Is it coming from organic search? Is it paid search? Is it a Facebook ad? Is it a customer referral? So if you're using Service Autopilot, the cool thing is we have different lead source tracking, and then we can run in and run those reports. So we know our client acquisition, or basically our lead acquisition cost, what our conversion is for each lead source, and then eventually a client lifetime value, and then your cancellation rate and closing rate for your estimate per lead source. So I love your take on the digital marketing, because once you understand that, obviously you need a professional to build out the website, but on the back end, if you go into a CRM like Service Autopilot, you can provide that webmaster a bunch of different tools to track some of that as well.
Yeah, you can. And one of the things I love about what you said is being able to track the results, because a lot of people don't measure any of it, and they end up spending a lot of money on marketing and they don't even know if it's working. So I have a whole chapter in my book. It's chapter 11, measure results. And, for people who are watching or listening, maybe they don't have a CRM quite yet. Maybe they're not using Service Autopilot. I think you can do it with paper. Honestly, if you at least ask your customer, how did you hear of us? And I had a tree care client. One time I went to their office to train them how to manage their website. They had a piece of paper. Their office manager would ask, how did you hear of us? And they had little tick marks for that. At this time, this was like 10 years ago, yellow pages. But they also measured things like referrals from other contractors, signage, vehicle wraps. We found you on the internet. I would take it a step further, and then at least we were able to know, even though it was kind of primitive, we were able to put that into a spreadsheet and see, okay, we got this many leads and this is how much we paid for each type of marketing. And we know that the quality of this type of lead wasn't very good. I have a client who cut $20,000 of marketing from his annual budget through measuring it this way. He was paying for a high-end magazine, and he found that the people who called from that, they weren't qualified. They hadn't gone through the funnel of his website of watching the videos and things like the customers coming from the internet were. And I'm not saying print is necessarily always bad. In fact, I do more print direct marketing. But because he was measuring, he was able to make some decisions and cut that. And he's like, what should I spend it on? I'm like, dude, you're booked out 3 months. Why don't you just put the money in your pocket? Right. Like he didn't, I'm like, you don't necessarily need to spend this money on advertising. It could just be, you could just keep it.
Yeah, I love it. And I think that's where we see eye to eye a lot of things, because it's that non-emotional thing. And once you figure out marketing and sales and you've got stats, it's a math game. Like if I want to grow by 50 or 60% this year, I know across these three different things, if I add that money in across percentage, that statistically the few percent is going to come in as long as my sales team's closing. But I think as you're looking, we talked a little bit before we got online here, is traffic for landscapers, particularly. I'm going to assume it's going to be the same for home cleaning or any service vertical. You had some interesting stats that kind of blew me away, and we were looking at it. But obviously, when people are looking for a service business, they're either usually coming from your mobile or desktop. Most of us are assuming right now that all the traffic coming to our lawn care home cleaning company is probably going to be through mobile traffic. But you said you had done some extensive research, and I'm kind of curious if you could share what your stats were.
Yeah, so I'm writing my next book, and I'm researching, I'm reading a ton. I'm reading things like Search Engine Journal, or there's a lot of different sources of information about digital marketing. And then I thought, well, you know what? We actually have enough clients that we could source our own data. And so our SEO strategist went into the weeds and analyzed the traffic of our mostly landscaping company websites. And our whole company, we were all assuming, oh, it's got to be mobile. It's got to be mobile. Everything's mobile, 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 mobile. And what we found was that the primary source of traffic was overwhelmingly desktop, meaning that it's still people using their computers. But what we also found is that they would also visit the site on their mobile device, but they were often discovering these websites on a computer. So mobile is absolutely still important. It is the future. It is everything. And I will share that this was primarily landscape design clients. It included lawn care and other services, but I was surprised to see that it was desktop.
Yeah, that's shocking. I know you had mentioned it. I think I want to give credit where credit's due, but I guess potentially, I think you had a great conclusion that maybe part of this is due to COVID. Everybody's working home remotely. Obviously, I wouldn't be in my home office here if things were different 12 months ago. So